Hi there, this is John Wilkinson from History Made Easier, and this presentation moves on from the Nazis' control of Germany to look at the Nazis' persecution of minorities. We'll look at 4 key factors, and again I'll hopefully give you plenty to think about, and I'll leave you with a simple but I think very useful task to conclude the whole topic on Nazi control. Now, you need to have a good understanding of the Nazis' theory on race. Hitler and the Nazis believed there was a hierarchy of races, and that Aryans were the most superior race, the master race. But what's more, the Nazis believed that history was a matter of racial struggle. And to win that struggle, racial purity was essential, or else a race would be weakened. And the Nazis believed that the inferior racial groups were weakening the Aryan race by marrying Aryans and having children with them. Racial purity, then, was the reason for persecuting Jews and Gypsies, and those with physical, mental or social defects. But it wasn't just a matter of racial superiority. The Nazis also persecuted any group that they thought challenged Nazi ideas, and Jews and Gypsies, of course, had alternative belief systems, as well as alternative lifestyles. The Jews were also blamed for Germany's defeat in World War I, and they were central to the stab in the back myth. They were also seen as prominent in the German Revolution. Yet whilst the Nazis associated the Jews with communism, they also felt that the Jews were trying to control the capitalist world. And on a personal level, as a young, struggling artist, Hitler lived in Vienna between 1907 and 1913, a time when Vienna was the most multi-ethnic capital in Europe. Hitler was living amongst Jews at the same time as experiencing the fierce anti-Semitism that prevailed in Vienna at that time. Whereas with regard to Gypsies, well, the Nazis saw them as a corrupting influence. They lived a nomadic life, they didn't pay taxes, and their children didn't attend school. They were seen as work-shy too. But the Nazis also wanted to rid society of worthless undesirables, as they saw them. People such as those with hereditary diseases, the mentally handicapped, homosexuals, prostitutes, those who were considered work-shy, tramps and beggars, alcoholics, juvenile delinquents and habitual criminals, which the Nazis felt to be a hereditary flaw itself. They didn't contribute to society, and so the Nazis saw them as an expensive burden. That's what the cartoon on your slide is all about. And, of course, they saw them as another bad influence. The money spent on them and the resources allocated to them would be better spent on the fit and the healthy. They set about dealing with these groups in stages. First, preparing the population with propaganda, then acting to remove the different groups from society before eventually trying to exterminate them. Give examples of the propaganda, maybe describing some from posters, in books, in movies, a maths lesson in school, and explain what they were doing, making out they were a danger to German values, to the German way of life and dehumanizing them. This enabled the removal of citizenship and banning interracial marriages. Think about the way the law was used and the way in which ordinary Germans were coerced into accepting what was happening. As for removing groups from society, the worthless undesirables might already be in prison. If not, they soon would be, or else the concentration camps. Others would be victims of the Nazis' sterilization programs, or else their euthanasia program. Gypsies would be rounded up and sent to the concentration camps too. The Jews would first be removed from the economy, denied their professions, their businesses, removed from cultural life too, crowded into ghettos before being moved to their own camps, the death camps. Gypsies would end up there too. And you might well get a question on Kristallnacht, so be prepared for that. Be prepared to deal with a what, a why, and a significance question. Ultimately, you have to give some thought as to why World War II led to the final solution, and just what were the key brutal characteristics of the Holocaust, the sheer scale and the organisation that was necessary for such an evil act. And don't forget the work of the Einsatzgruppen and the mobile gas vans. Now, with regard to the two main churches, the Protestant and the Catholic churches, clearly they aren't minority groups, but for convenience this is where we deal with them. And the key things to think about are the manner in which the churches were treated with care, at least at first. That they were treated differently. And by they, I mean that the Protestant church was treated differently to the Catholic church. And of course, how they were treated. And you also need to consider the ways in which the two churches reacted to Nazi policies in general, and of course those aimed against themselves. And that just leaves me with a simple conclusion task to help you sum up your thoughts and go back to where we began these last two presentations. Was Nazi Germany a totalitarian state? Consider the chart on this slide and simply position a dot or whatever mark you want where you think your assessment lies for each facet of Nazi rule, though it would be much better to offer a brief explanation for your assessment too. So there you have it. I do hope this presentation has proven useful to you. Good luck with your revision, hang in there, and good luck in your exam. Don't forget my website, History Made Easier. It's there to help you too. But for now, I do thank you for listening. Cheers.